Good morning. It's day 18 and it's Sunday, and I get to see some of you at church in a few hours. And we're in James 3:3-6. And this is a very clear few passages that James has today for us. So I'm going to read 3-6 and tell you what I got. Now, if we put bits into the mouths of horses so they obey us, we direct their whole bodies, and consider ships, though very fierce and driven by fierce winds, they are guided by a very small rudder. Wherever the will of the pilot directs, so too through the tongue though the tongue is a small part of the body, it boasts great things. Consider how a small fire sets ablaze a large forest, and the tongue is a fire. The tongue, a world of unrighteousness, is placed among our members. If it stains the whole body, sets the course of life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell. Okay, so what is James saying here? It's very simple. I think what he's just got one word that one sort of like lesson that we need to learn here. If we put bits into the mouths of horses, this is a very clear picture. I don't know if you've ever ridden horses. I have. And when they're training a horse, they put the bit. And what is a bit? It goes in over their tongue. They have very sensitive mouths. And with that bit in there, you as the rider, if you have a hold of the reins, you can guide that big, huge animal anywhere you want. So get this picture. Now, if we put bits into the mouths of horses so they obey us, we direct their whole bodies. Then he talks about ships, huge ships that are controlled through fierce winds and waves by a very small rudder. A small rudder guides the ship where it goes, and he's comparing the tongue to that. Though the tongue is a small part of the body, it boasts great things. Consider how we set a small fire, and it can turn a whole large forest set a whole large forest on fire. The tongue, a world of unrighteousness, is placed among our members. It stains the whole body. So what is he saying? The tongue. Controlling the mouth is so critical. And what is it that controls our tongue? What is it that controls our mouth? What is that bit that we're going to put into our mouths? I think what James is trying to say to the Jewish Christians, and ultimately what God wants you and I to understand today, is that what's inside here controls what we believe about God, controls our tongue, and that controls our whole body. It just controls everything. So I want to challenge you today, as you go to church and you run into people, maybe in a restaurant, maybe at church. I just want to challenge you to think about how you're using your tongue. What is it that's inside of you that's coming out of your mouth? And then I also hope that if you watch this morning before you go to church, I really, really want you to take a few minutes this morning while you're at church, and I want you to think about, what is it I believe? Because you can't do what you don't believe. You can't live what you don't believe. We can't do, and we have to really identify. James wants us to identify, what is it we believe? We say we believe, but what do we really believe? Let's make this a Sunday where we are really evaluating what we believe. And what would it look like if every one of us started really, really, really tapping into what we believe and living it? What would the words of coming out of our mouth, rolling off our tongue sound like? Have a great Sunday. I'll see you tomorrow.